Hi, Audrey. I have looked over your lesson plan and have some feedback for you. So I'm going to talk to you about your lesson plan specifically using the rubric from class. And so first we'll be looking in the elements and presentation area. This area is complete and thorough, so I consider it well done. Moving on to the desired results section, I noticed that you've drilled down to two very specific evidence outcomes. The first is respond thoughtfully to diverse perspectives, summarize points of agreement, justify views, and the second is applying knowledge of language to our writing. Okay, so the thing that I like to do is look for an alignment between your evidence outcomes here, your essential questions, and your students who will be able to. Okay, your essential questions global are well done. Like skills that we get from working in a group and how those work in the real world. I actually feel like the way that these are written, these almost feel more global than content area as well. Because being able to effectively function in a collaborative group is something that is not language arts specific. It's something that they can take and use to in other classes. And so we might want to refine these a little bit such that how is it that being able to effectively function in a collaborative group, hold while I scroll, allows us to understand better the use of new vocabulary words, okay? Because that's a pretty language arts specific thing, okay? It's not like these are poor questions. I just feel like you can make them a little more content area specific, okay? In your students will be able to section, we want a piece that's drawn from the evidence outcome. Then I want the word by, and then I want observable outcome. In other words, to work in a team environment and as a group by determining who will be responsible for what assignments. The second one would read, to complete the team building assignment by recognizing individual skills necessary to complete the assignment, okay? I have a really slight alignment error problem here, okay? And this is going to sound a little picky, but I want you to learn this technique very well so it just becomes natural, okay? What I want you to do is look at this here. To work in a team and determine who will be responsible for assignments. To complete the team building assignment while recognizing individual skills. Okay, think about recognizing individual skills and bring that back up here. Respond thoughtfully to diverse perspectives, summarize points of agreement and disagreement, and qualify or justify your views. All right? That's different than recognizing individual skills. Again, let's talk about like Doug Lemov's double planning and make yourself one of the kids in this class. And you and I know because we were probably that kid, right? How they're like, just give the paper to Stacy because she has neat handwriting and she'll do all the work. And I sit there and I do all of the work. And they're like, oh, good skills, right? Or maybe one person writes while the other person tells the person what to write, okay? That's really different than responding thoughtfully to diverse perspectives or summarizing points of agreement and disagreement. So when I run into an alignment issue, you've got two choices. Either one, your students will be able to is what you want to stick with, is what you want to do. Okay, then go find the evidence outcome that matches it. Or two, this evidence outcome is really important to you and it's a skill you want, in which case you need to revise this. So, to work in a team environment as a group by summarizing points of agreement and disagreement and justifying your own view. Okay, so I hope you see that alignment issue, okay? And like I said, I'm not like giving you a hard time here. I just really want you to be able to learn this alignment issue. Like I want you to have it down cold so that you can just do these things like right off the cuff, okay? Let's move on and look at assessment. Okay, your assessment section looks good. At this point, I'm not necessarily grading these as much as I am just checking for completion and alignment, and you meet both of those criteria well. Moving into your learning plan. I like your opening. I think that, moving into your learning plan and specifically looking at the rubric, okay? I like your learning plan. I think it has an engaging opening because you've got kids, racing for that piece of paper again. doing their best to bring these definitions forward, and they're going to be struggling. So I like how you transition that well into the fact that you don't even know, so that it's a place of learning, and the fact that while they're reading the text, they're not going to know all of the words. So it was a very fluid and smooth transition um, from engaging them in class, connecting to them as people, and then moving into the text. Very fluid, and I like that a lot. I also love the fact that you follow up with the so what, or the why. One of the parts of our rubric talks about the objectives and activities are made clear to the students, especially their relevance. I think oftentimes it's easy for teachers to do things like telling students, it's a tough novel to read and the author puts some tough words in. Let's deal with it. And you go that one extra step by saying, why do you think the author does that? You're not telling them, you're asking them to think about it, and you do something like this once or twice and it really doesn't make a difference. But time after time, when you're asking them to share their thoughts and bring their voice in, that begins to demonstrate that you really believe them, you believe in them, that you trust them, and that you really do reward their willingness to try. So very nice move on that part. Okay, moving on to their practice in class, putting this into practice. So I noticed that you have put them in groups and that you have assigned them jobs. And while that is a good teacher move that avoids a lot of chaos and confusion, pardon, hold with me while I scroll, look at the objective you set out for them today. You just did their work for them. Okay, and so again, we've got this really slight alignment issue, right? You've got them working in a team environment, but then you did the work of determining who was responsible for what assignments, okay? And then in assigning them roles, you also gave them roles that assigned which individual would be practicing which skill, instead of asking them to figure that part out on their own. So I might recommend a change here in telling them, I'm going to have you working in small groups to do the following thing, pointing to the objectives for the board. So it's important that you assign each person duties according to their individual skill. And then once that's done, you'll be researching the words and presenting them to class. Now, it's going to happen more than once that a definition for a word feels different from the context clues than it does from the dictionary. And those are the conversations I want you to have. And then I want you to be able to reconcile those, because the skill we're practicing today is recognizing individual contributions, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So do you see what I'm saying? How you want to make this so that they're practicing your skills, not that you're assigning them skills. Your check for understanding is very well done here. And you bring them back around to share their information in class, okay? And so, so you've closed it very well. This is a very fluid thing too. I've just got those two slight alignment issues I want you to check out. Okay? Thanks, Audrey.